Becoming a Super Saiyan 7 years earlier than Dad. Son Gohan was startled. Perhaps because the Dragon Ball warriors died early and no one to teach the reason, although Son Gohan became a Super Saiyan for some years, the strength of the growth had not been much. His current strength was only a little stronger than when Son Goku returned from planet Namek and was very barely able to deal with 2 androids. Dad only took 2 years to have about the same strength as me now, and Auntie became a Super Saiyan 7 years earlier than Dad. That strength is not more powerful. In the impression of Son Gohan, the warrior at that time was far more solid than now, and even their own practice alone for 7 or 8 years might not be as good as their practice for 1 or 2 years. Although it was demoralizing, it was a fact. The peak of the earth had passed, relying only on their own to hold on. If they collapse one day, there would be only one way to destruction. Under careful consideration, Son Gohan unexpectedly found that the young and beautiful aunt opposite had a surprisingly high probability that her strength was still above the androids. "Auntie, the strength of the android is a little higher than me, are you really sure?" If Ayaka's strength was really enough, he would have implored the other side to fight. On the contrary, if it was not enough, he would not let Ayaka fight no matter what. It seemed that her appearance prevented her from gaining Son Gohan's trust. Ayaka shook her head lightly, and once her thoughts passed, she released a portion of her chi slightly. At once, the entire room was enveloped by an amazing ki, the room shook up and down with a creaking sound, and the ground trembled slightly. "This is just a portion of my ki, is it enough?" Ayaka asked with a smile. "It is enough, put it away, if this continues the house will not be able to stand." Son Gohan shouted in surprise, this strength was definitely above the androids. Trunks had been stunned, he had never seen such a powerful ki. When Brother Gohan and androids were fighting, they were not that powerful. A few seconds later, the vast and terrifying airflow slowly disappeared. The room once again calmed down, but the interior furnishings seemed to experience the baptism of a tornado. All kinds of furniture and furnishings fell to the east and west, becoming disorderly. Now, the earth is saved, no more hiding. The young Trunks' heart was very happy. There was no way out of the mountain, there was a village in the dark. Just because Son Gohan broke an arm and worried about the future of the earth, he never thought that God would send such a big surprise so soon. Brother Gohan's aunt was here, the androids would not be a problem. "Humph, this time believe it, don't worry about any androids with Mama's strength." I bragged happily. Son Gohan and Trunks nodded vigorously, looking at Iam's eyes mixed with a little respect, which was in addition to the elders and the worship of the strong. "Well, we will put aside the matter of androids, I will naturally go to solve them after some time. First of all, the matter of the earth, the lookout and Korin Tower were destroyed by the androids a long time ago, and after the death of Biker Earth's Dragon Balls have also disappeared. Without the Dragon Balls want to restore the trauma of the earth is very difficult." Ayaka's clear voice unfolded. Son Gohan couldn't help but nod. It was very difficult to calm down the situation of the earth now that the androids were wiped out, especially those who suffered trauma because of the battle, basically impossible to recover. "You have not thought of using the Namekian's Dragon Balls? Just wish to the divine dragon of planet Namek, not only the earth can be restored, even Son Gohan's arm can also be reborn." "I never thought of it, but the new planet Namek is too far away from the earth, and the location is uncertain. Goku and his spaceship was destroyed many years ago along with the old planet Namek, there is no way we can reach it without a spaceship and a star map." Bulma said with a sad face. "Indeed." Ayaka nodded gently. Without a ship, without an address, no wonder Bulma went farther to invent a more complex time machine. However, why the dead Piccolo did not contact Namekian through Kai, though? Could it be that they also had no hope that Son Gohan and the others could defeat the androids, so they did not do anything useless? "So, tomorrow Gohan, Trunks and Iam will go with me to find the androids, and after defeating them I will make a trip to new planet Namek." "Okay." Great, the end of androids is finally here. By this time the sky had darkened, a hazy evening sun rose in the sky, and darkness gradually descended on the entire city. The crumbling and desolate West City was soon darkened by the night, and surprisingly, there was not a single light. The Bulma family was afraid that they were the last family in West City. Walked to the basement, the mainframe buzzing sound came over, fluorescent flashing computer screen on a string of complex code constantly crossed, Bulma was concentrating on their work continued. Seeing Ayaka walked in, Bulma put down the work in his hands, picked up a cup of coffee and drank. The world has declined a lot, regardless of diet, technology is far worse than back then, but also constantly worry about the day will be attacked by artificial people. Now think about it, the life of the year really happy. Are these the sketches you designed the time machine? Ayaka picked up a piece of draft paper, which was densely drawn with various icons and filled with calculation formulas. Yes, this is the time machine design, but because of your arrival, I'm afraid these things will not come in handy. Bulma said regretfully, but there was more joy in his eyes at the imminent salvation of the world. It's not useless, I came to you hoping you would invent a machine for me, just like the previous Dragon Ball radars. I can accidentally travel through parallel dimensions, so I need a machine that can determine the coordinates of space. Ayaka said his request. Bulma listened and instantly came to the fore. The technology that could determine the coordinates of parallel space was very similar to her time machine theory. Dragon Ball radar because there are Dragon Balls as a basic reference, but to determine the space without a reference to invent it is very difficult. Bulma frowned. If it is a space reference then I have a little clue, I do not know if it works. Saying that, Ayaka gathered in the palm of the hand out of 2 or 3 layers of mutual distortion of the film. This film was like a dream, tangled and twisted, like a crystal-clear gem emitting a mysterious luster. Bulma, thump, immediately sprang to her feet, throwing away the cup of tea in her hands and quickly crossed to Ayaka. Her 2 eyes glittered, like seeing her favorite thing. This is space film. If this, I am completely sure that the space detector invented, but the space aspect is too complex, I'm afraid it will take a long time. It does not matter if it takes longer, I have 3 years to wait, after 3 years I must return, I have a more powerful enemy there to deal with. Instead of traveling through time inside the Dragon Ball, it was better to travel through space. 3 years is certainly enough. Bulma said with confidence. The next morning, as soon as it was light Ayaka got up from bed, and then carried Ayam who was hugging his bed to walk to the bathroom. After washing up, Ayaka walked to the courtyard. Son Gohan and Trunks were already fully dressed and eagerly waiting there. Son Gohan was wearing the orange martial arts uniform of Turtle School, and Trunks was wearing his usual casual clothes with the Capsule Corporation design. Auntie, let's go. Son Gohan is in a very good mood. With such a powerful Super Saiyan as Ayaka to fight, Son Gohan believed that today was definitely the end of the androids. After waiting for so many years, the Earth was finally about to face peace. Well, then let's go, Gohan, when the time comes, you do not fight. It is enough that the androids are given to me alone, I am and Trunks' strength is not yet strong, you are responsible for protecting it. Trunks' strength was about 5 million, while I am had 4 million in planet Namek, and after returning to Earth after so long to practice, her strength rose to 6.3 million, the strength of the 2 of them plus a fire then perhaps become a Super Saiyan. But this was the Earth, a little carelessness would cause great losses, so this time Ayaka only intend to let them stand by, the androids have her in enough. Son Gohan nodded in understanding. It was enough for Trunks and the others to watch and grow some experience, and they didn't need them to really fight, not even for himself. With a few swoosh, Ayaka fore into a few rays of light rose in the air, to a direction and disappeared. A medium-sized city in the south of the Earth, nearly 1,000 kilometers from the West City. After defeating Son Gohan, the androids traveled all the way south, and when they encountered a human-inhabited city on the way, they would continue to kill with mad cruelty, and in just one day there were several cities destroyed. Ayaka, Son Gohan and others had been flying in the direction of the androids, overlooking the ruins of the city below had become a wreckage, the brow showing complex emotions. Although it was a parallel space, after all, there were so many lives. It's true what Trunks said, the androids here are a complete source of evil, there is no need to exist anymore. Ayaka always had a good feeling for the beautiful android 18. If possible, she did not mind taking the 18 away, but in the current situation, this world's 18 and the original world 18 in addition to appearance, there was no point of similarity, both cold and cruel, Ayaka did not have the heart to take her away. Son Gohan said, we must find number 17 and number 18 as soon as possible, and then eradicate them. Small town. Android 18 twisted and dropped a stack of clothes in her hands high up, looked dissatisfied cold snort, scared the shopkeeper blushed and hid under the counter. Humph, this world is getting worse and worse, there are not even a few beautiful clothes, it's really boring. Haha, 18, since you are not satisfied, there is no need to keep this place, let me destroy this small town together. Spare my life, I still have a lot of beautiful clothes here, make sure this lady will like them. The owner of the store was so scared that his face was bloodless when he heard that these demons wanted to destroy the whole city, and he hurriedly ran out from under the counter with a crawl. He, whatever you want. 18 tossed her beautiful long blonde hair and walked out of the store door with her head held high. A smile lifted up on 17's cold cheeks. She hooked her lips, before extending her fingers to launch a devastating attack on the store. In an instant, the fiery flames from the explosion engulfed the mall mercilessly like a raging fire dragon. The steel quickly deformed under the intense heat, and because the energy of the explosion was too great, the concrete structure of the mall instantly collapsed, and a dim yellow beam of light with searing heat shot up into the sky like a small nuclear explosion, raising a beautiful mushroom cloud. The smoke cleared and all the buildings within a few hundred meters of the mall were reduced to ashes. 18 stroked the blonde hair, blowing away the smoke and dust around the diffuse. Frowned, expressionlessly looking at only a few skeleton structure buildings, face dissatisfied, 17, you're too heavy-handed. Look around, the stores are destroyed by you, it's more difficult to find good clothing stores. 17 shrugged, oh, I forgot, next time pay attention and make sure to strike after you have chosen the clothes. Well, there's nothing I want here, destroy the city. Okay. Ayaka and the others flew through the air, light flashed, and in the blink of an eye had disappeared, far behind them could only see a few beams of long, blurred light ribbons held up. Suddenly huge energy fluctuations came, Ayaka face changed, faint voice sounded, the androids are just ahead, they are doing it again, everything according to plan. Yes. Got it. The crowd agreed. Ayaka has arrived in the middle of the city with an instant transmission, slowly lowering his height, and his vision has been able to see the situation in front of him. The entire modest city had been completely flattened in the big explosion just now, and the few ruins rising high could still barely discern that this was once a city where humans were active. This is the same sight as always, the androids are too abominable. Son Gohan said angrily. Calm down, the androids are nearby. Ayaka turned back to a stern voice. Son Gohan nodded his head, eyes still cold flash, but obediently back to the side, next to Ayaka. It was easy to find the android 17 and 18 who were preparing to leave. Mama, isn't this the Saiyan? I remember it seems to be the son of the Son Goku, called Son Gohan. Last time the battle was so fierce that only one arm was missing. The injury healed too quickly. This time also brought a few companions. 18 covered her mouth in amazement and giggled. Androids, today will be the end of you. Son Gohan's cold voice rang out. 17 and 18 smiled properly and laughed out loud. Son Gohan, last time let you lucky save your life, not well hide but take the initiative to find the door, but also so shameless, you Saiyan is really too unaware of the time. 17 said indifferently. 17, 18, if a little more restrained, I might still spare you, but unfortunately, you make me very unsatisfied. Ayaka stepped forward, two beautiful eyes smilingly looking at the androids number 17 and number 18. Where did that woman come from? How dare she be arrogant in front of us? 17 burst out in anger and shouted sternly. Two guys with only a few 100 million power level. Muttering softly, Ayaka's figure fiercely disappeared into thin air. Not good. 18 shouted anxiously, 17 hurry up and dodge, that woman is not a generalist. What? When 17 heard her sisters shout and turned back in disorientation. It was the first time that a woman could be a part of a group of people who had been in the business for a long time. Super Saiyan. When 17 heart flashed a trace of panic, the other party's cold, unfeeling gaze like ice poured on the heart. Her whole body surprisingly stiffened up. Without much thought, Ayaka's hands resting on her chest lit up with a blinding light. No. 17 screamed miserably, two powerful energy waves penetrated Hermes' Birkin bag replica his chest, hard through his chest out of two bloody holes. 17's heart was instantly shattered. 18, she is not an ordinary Super Saiyan. Before the words were finished, it died with a twist of the neck. The androids were also human. 17 and 1/8 was not a pure mechanical body, but according to the human body modified, the loss of the heart was fatal. The scene was suddenly quiet. Was the powerful and terrifying android died so simply? Son Gohan and others stared blankly up. After a short silence, they burst out in surprised cheers, while the heart turned up waves of shock. This was the death of human beings, goods than goods to throw awe. The Dragon Ball warriors were abused to death one by one, so that the world was full of infinite fear of the android 17 was killed so simply. The strength of this ant from another world was actually terrifying. Son Gohan and Trunks feel the ground on which their feet are soft, as if in a dream, and pinch themselves in disbelief. It hurt. It was not a dream. Android 17 was really killed. They looked at Ayaka with admiration in their eyes. This was the real strong. For a moment, Son Gohan permanently memorized his aunt's delicate and valiant heroic posture as a goal to strive for in the future. The androids in this world really can't compare with the original world. The power of number 17 can't even compare with Metal Cooler. Gohan's strength cannot keep up with the original. The androids are also fragile, and this world must not exist as strong as Majin Buu. After a round of strikes, Ayaka felt the level of this world was somewhat lower. After all, it was not a traditional world, the power was completely unable to match the original world. Damn, I can't believe 17 is dead. Seeing her sister being killed by the woman in front of him, 18 immediately fell into a frenzy, whistling then rushed towards Ayaka. Noisy. The eyes flashed a cold light. Ayaka raised her turquoise eyes, and casually swung her hand towards 18. Suddenly, a series of several vast and incomparable energy swings out, surprisingly knocked number 18 away. With crazy shouting, 18 tattered clothing, a flash, continued to attack Ayaka. After losing her only sibling, 18 had gone completely crazy. Since you want to die so badly, report to the other world together with 17. Ayaka muttered. The glowing white bright light flashed up, wrapped the entire 18, then in a crisp chirp, the white bright light disappeared into thin air, along with the android number 18. 18 was Ayaka's favorite type. It was a pity that the androids of this world were too cruel to allow her to continue to exist anymore. Seeing firsthand that Ayaka wiped out the androids, Son Gohan and Trunks were momentarily too shocked to speak. The androids were wiped out. There was a short silence. Great, the world is finally going to peace, and humans do not have to be afraid anymore. Son Gohan and Trunks were acting very crazy at this moment, and in Ayaka's opinion what a disorder it was. But no wonder, the haze of androids oppressed them for more than a decade, and now they see the sky through the clouds. Of course, they breathed a sigh of relief. The remaining work was left to the professionals to rebuild the world, and they could take a break from it. Iam's cute little face turned red and she held her head up high and said, "I told you that Mama was the best, how could the androids be a match?" Trunks nodded his head vigorously. Ayaka smiled. Just now the strike seemed to be a little too fast. She had planned to let Trunks and Iam observe it, but she could only let them see it next time they had the chance. Ayaka did not know that her Rapid's fierce, swift and fast fighting style had made them long to see, making Trunks' mind completely shocked. That night, Ayaka and a few people returned to Bulma's house. After telling Bulma the good news that the androids had been wiped out, Bulma shed tears of excitement and then took out the treasured food to celebrate properly. The next morning, everyone did not get up early, the pressure on the heart of the boulder removed, Son Gohan all relaxed, lying in bed and sleep. In Iam's room, the stuffy feeling at the chest made Iam sleep restlessly, opened Ayaka's eyes. Iam's entire body was like a wombat wrapped tightly around her, with her little head on her soft chest and a crystal liquid flowing from the corner of her mouth. The curtains fluttered in the breeze as she lifted the little head on her chest and walked to the windowsill in her pajamas, opening the glass window. Warm sunlight shone through the window, sprinkling dots on the floor of the room, as if a gift from the sky, spread throughout the room. After a simple breakfast, Ayaka moved a lounge chair to the compound outside the house, while reading the outdated newspaper and sunbathing. The peaceful and calm leisure contrasts with the surrounding crumbling and desolate urban background. Buzzing. It was the sound of aircraft engines from a distance, not long after a yellow-backed aircraft slowly landed in the courtyard. Hearing the roar of the aircraft landing, Son Gohan, Trunks, and other people with lunch boxes walked out of the room. Master Roshi, Oolong, and Puar jumped down from the plane and greeted Son Gohan warmly when they saw him. "Grandpa Roshi, what are you guys doing here?" Son Gohan asked in surprise as he ate his breakfast. Master Roshi looked at Ayala and suddenly noticed SPN Gohan's broken left arm, his face changed, and he asked, "Gohan, why is your arm gone?" Son Gohan shook his head, lost in the previous engagement, "But Grandpa, I have good news for you." Master Roshi sighed and said, "Hey, is it about the pretty lady next to you? We've met before." Alas, after Gohan lost an arm to deal with the androids will be more difficult, but the good news is that with Miss Ayaka, our chances of winning have improved a little. Having said that, the news that Son Gohan lost his arm still cast a shadow over the future of Master Roshi. Seeing Master Roshi misunderstood, Son Gohan overflowed with a bright smile, "No, this is another better news." What is the good news?" Master Roshi couldn't help but be curious. Son Gohan took a long breath, brewed for a while, and said happily. "Just yesterday, Auntie has personally finished off the androids." "What did you just say?" Deafening words simply made Master Roshi could not believe his ears for a while. He subconsciously thought that he had heard wrong. "I said that the androids have been wiped out." "Really?" Master Roshi was shocked. After receiving an affirmative reply, Master Roshi looked at each other, "So we don't have to be afraid anymore." Oolong and Puar hugged each other, Turner hand dancing and cheering. Master Roshi was not as spontaneous as they were. He watched quietly. A stream of hot tears was swirling in his eyes. "The androids are wiped out. Krillin, Yamcha, the androids are wiped out. Your dedication has finally come to fruition." Looking at the excited look of a group of people, a look that ushered in the light in the darkness, and Ayaka's mood stirred up. She said, "Now that the androids have been eliminated, the next step is the reconstruction of the Earth." Speaking of rebuilding the Earth, everyone calmed down and frowned. This was a big problem. The impact of the androids for more than 10 years couldn't be eliminated overnight. Those crumbling and destroyed cities aside, after 10 years of hellish and chaotic life, the mentality of human beings cannot be turned around at once. "I can make a trip to new planet Namek, with the help of Namekian's Dragon Balls," Ayaka said his idea. But planet Namek is too far away, and there is no knowledge of interstellar navigation charts. Master Roshi shook his head. As early as when the androids appeared, they thought of the Dragon Balls of planet Namek, only that planet Namek was far away, and there was no clear location, as well as whether the Dragon Balls could be borrowed so easily. So this idea, in fact, was no different from an empty thought. This, you do not have to worry. I know where the new planet Namek is, and I have a move similar to Goku's instant transmission. To go to the new planet Namek is just a matter of moments. Really? Everyone immediately felt dizzy with happiness. Ayaka was simply a blessing to the world, eliminating the androids and bringing hope for the recovery of the Earth. Of course. How about this? In going to the new planet Namek, by the way. The Earth's former Dragon Balls are still there. Yes. All of them. When the androids first appeared, we collected the Dragon Balls just in case, but unfortunately, they killed Piccolo. Bulma, quickly take out those Dragon Ball stones. Master Roshi busy shouted at Bulma. When Bulma heard this, she was also unusually excited. She walked from the safe to take out 7 ball-shaped white stones. After the Dragon Balls are restored, resurrect all those who were killed by the androids. Ayaka lightly ordered, under such circumstances, they could resurrect a few, and those whose bodies were not preserved, it wasn't all doomed. The Dragon Balls of planet Namek should be able to restore their physical bodies. Ayaka unlashed instant transmission and disappeared, in a flash, has come to the new planet Namek. After she left, Master Roshi and Bulma nervously gazed at the Dragon Balls, the brow due to the nervousness of the sweat seeping out. After a long time, the 7 spherical stones in their dreamy eyes once again turned orange-red, inlaid with a few red stars, looked so brilliant. The 7 Dragon Balls buzzed and echoed each other, flashing with waves of golden brilliance. The Dragon Balls were restored. At the same time, a desolate desert, Piccolo and the Kami, appeared there. I've been resurrected. Someone used the Dragon Balls to bring us back to life. The Kami looked at the sky, which was full of black clouds. Earth's Dragon Balls have also been restored. Is this Shenron? Trunks were shocked by the huge body of Shenron that was weaving through the black clouds. This was the first time he had seen the majestic stance of the divine dragon. The green body snaked through the thick dark clouds, and the dragon held its head high and its voice loud, "Oh, you who have gathered the Dragon Balls, say your wish. Please let all the people who were killed by the androids come back to life." Son Gohan said excitedly. Buzz. The eyes of Shenron lit up with a bloody red light when a magical force covered the earth, all the dead people all revived. Your wish has been granted, goodbye. The Dragon Balls were scattered all over the world again, and the dark clouds dispersed in a moment. By the way, Trunks, you go see if the people whose bodies were destroyed are also resurrected. Thinking of Shenron, to resurrect people need a complete body, Son Gohan instructed. No need. People who make wishes should restore the bodies of all people in advance. A voice came, Piccolo, Vegeta, Krillin, and other people's figures appeared in the air. Uncle Piccolo. Krillin, Yamcha. Vegeta. Master Roshi and others called out with surprise on their faces and then ran up to the front one by one. The androids were actually wiped out. It seems that we missed a lot of good shows. From the mouth of Son Gohan, they learned the general situation. Tian Shinhan had an astonished look on his face, and while surveying the wrecked city around him, he lamented. However, his words had not yet fallen. An amazing change occurred. As if turning back time, the shattered city began to reorganize among the ruins, and in a short while, the crumbling ruins were transformed into a modern city building. The previous dilapidation was like a dream. Ayaka used Namekian's Dragon Ball. The first wish was to repair the bodies of all the dead, the second wish was to resurrect Piccolo, and the third wish was to repair the damage done to the Earth by the androids. Shortly after, Ayaka returned to Earth. When she saw a resurrected Dragon Ball warrior and a city that was no longer in disrepair, a smile appeared on her face. First time meeting, Piccolo, Vegeta. You are Gohan's aunt, Ayaka, right? Thank you. For the life-saving benefactor, Krillin and others were not sloppy, and hurriedly responded enthusiastically. Vegeta stood to the side, nodded, said, "You are the Super Saiyan that Trunks said. Thank you for saving us." Since everyone is here, let's celebrate. Master Roshi was in a good mood and suggested with narrowed eyes. Yes, to restore peace to the earth. So, in everyone's hustle and bustle, a plate of sumptuous food on the table. It did not take long to start. Vegeta, Son Gohan, and others fought for food, clanking. The sound of dishes banging and plates clashing, and in front of them has stacked up a high pile of dishes. Saiyans are still so good eaters, but why did Ayaka eat so little? Is it that female Saiyans eat differently? Krillin looked at the familiar sound of plates clashing and couldn't help but recall the scene with Son Goku all those years ago. Ayaka picked up the dishes to Iam's bowl, laughing, "I do not need much food, and I also control Iam's meals. Girls cannot always be like them." With the chopsticks pointing to several male Saiyans who were wolfing down their food, Krillin lied lightly and sarcastically. The eyes turned around a few times on Ayaka, unexpectedly thought that the original female Saiyans were actually so beautiful. In everyone's cheeky laughter, the meal feast continued until the afternoon, and then all one by one to say goodbye to leave. Time passes, and in the blink of an eye, 3 years have passed. 3 years, Vegeta, Son Gohan, Trunks and other continued practice with Ayaka as the goal. More than a year ago, Iam and Trunks successively turned into Super Saiyan, and this could also see that the Super Saiyan gradually became worthless. When Iam was able to transform into a Super Saiyan, she couldn't wait to tell Ayaka, and after being praised by her mother, she was happy for a while. Bulma studied the parameters of spacetime day and night. With reference to the small spatial film provided by Ayaka, there was a great breakthrough in research. Ayaka also thoroughly probes the Earth and the outer planets. The facts show that Majin Buu's egg didn't exist in this world. Ayaka did not find the planet on the outer world frozen. The two worlds were similar, but the worlds went completely different. On the lookout, Iam transformed into a Super Saiyan shining golden light, with a stroke of serious engagement with Trunks. Swish! Bang! The sound of punching and kicking was incessant, shifting. Iam surprisingly completely suppressed Trunks. "I can't. I admit defeat." Trunks panted as he slumped to the ground. "Idiot, give me more strength. How can Vegeta's son cannot even beat the 11-year-old girl? Stand up." Vegeta stood to the side grumpily yelled. This was the most noble lineage of Saiyan. How could he not even able to beat a little girl? Vegeta, Iam is my true heritage. Trunks is no match. Ayaka covered her mouth with light laughter. Humph. Vegeta was lazy to argue, angrily turned his head away. Ever since Trunks was able to transform into a Super Saiyan, he had been allowing Trunks to fight against Iam. In his words, Super Saiyan could only grow in battle. Perhaps this world's Saiyan was not as good as Ayaka's world. From the first game to now, Trunks did not win over Iam but was crushed to death by the teenage girl. This made Vegeta ashamed. Dad is angry again. Trunks gasped. Humph. No more fighting. Iam pouted and trotted away. Every time it was so dull to fight with Trunks, and she wanted to fight with Mama in her heart. Son Gohan came over and pulled up Trunks. Do not mind it, Iam, that girl is the same as Aunt. The potential is terrifying. Soon even I will be surpassed by her. In 3 years, Bulma and the others used the Dragon Balls 2 more times. Once to wish away the memories of all ordinary humans about androids, and once to restore Son Gohan's left arm, and now Son Gohan was working as a lecturer in one of the universities, which was a fulfillment of Chi-Chi's expectations. Well. A few days later, Bulma's scouter was finally completed. And soon was a machine smaller than the Dragon Ball scouter, watch style, with only a few buttons and a monitor on it. As soon as the button was installed, the screen would show the data of the space where it was currently located. Ayaka took the space scouter, pressed the start button on the side. A few beeps, a series of data was displayed. 0.8210. These were the spatial parameters of Trunks' world. Ayaka understood that the world where Trunks was located was a world that deviated from the original. According to the projection, the closer the spatial parameters, the world was closer to the original world of 1.0. Ayaka was satisfied with the space scouter and put it away. Everyone, it has been 3 years since I came here. I am very happy to spend time with you, but the time has come to part. The space android I am in is about to appear. And I need to go back. Ayaka, thank you very much. If not for you, we are afraid that peace will not be restored here. We will remember you. Welcome to come back next time. Bulma was so sad that she was on the verge of tears. Ayaka smiled faintly, remembered something, and said, by the way, as far as I know, you still have an android here. Dr. Gero's computer gathered your genes to create a monster, and the strength is even more terrifying than the 17th and 18th. You guys should beware. Ayaka remembered Cell. If he had not intervened by her, Trunks would have gone to the past to tell the Dragon Ball warriors about the androids at this time with despair, and then returned to the time machine to recharge the energy for 3 years, and then went to the original world with Son Goku and others to destroy the androids. After another 3 years, they defeated the androids in this world, and Cell would appear. That means that Cell would appear after 6 years. Cell's strength was not the same as 17, 18 and couldn't be compared. Even in the initial state, after absorbing enough life essence, his strength was more powerful than the original world 17. The current strength of Vegeta and others was not enough. That android called Cell will appear in 6 years. He has Saiyan, Namekian, and Frisia's genes. The strength is very terrifying. Now should still be in the embryonic state. How to deal with the specific, you decide for yourselves. By the way, there are further transformations above the Super Saiyan that is beyond the Super Saiyan. I call it Super Saiyan 2. Gohan, Vegeta, I hope any of you can reach it. With that said, Ayaka waved goodbye toward everyone. The space in the background broke like a lens, the beautiful fragments shone brightly. Ayaka led a foot in, and a few moments later, the space returned to its original state. Gohan, about the android named Cell that Ayaka said, what are you going to do? Krillin asked nervously. Cell is still in an embryonic state. Why don't we go and destroy him now? Yamcha suggested. No one is allowed to go. Vegeta shouted angrily. Krillin shrugged his shoulders, an expression that he had known would be like this. Everyone turned their attention to Son Gohan, and the presence of that unknown android made their hearts extremely uneasy. Still, Vegeta's attitude showed that he did not want anyone to strangle Cell in advance. In fact, I also want to see the strength of that android. Son Gohan rubbed his head in embarrassment. I knew it. You are exactly the same as Goku, then we can only fight. Yamcha shook his head with a bitter smile. Saiyan sometimes simply incomprehensible, knowing that it was not a good decision but still wanted to challenge it. Beyond the Super Saiyan is Super Saiyan 2, and the unknown android Cell. It's all very interesting, isn't it? Vegeta tilted his head, the corners of his mouth curled up. When the appearance of the androids caught them off guard, now 6 years before Cell appears, they have enough confidence to increase their strength and then completely destroy the androids. Krillin shook his head. The Earth was going to go through another ordeal. The world where Ayaka lives, 3 years later, May 12th, it was a sparse day, the sun rose as usual. Dragon Ball warriors had finished their training and came to a large island 9 kilometers from the southern city. Hey, it's Tian Shinhan and Yamcha. At this time, because of the temperature, a certain distance from the ground rose a thin mist. Krillin floated among the clouds and saw several people standing on the hill of the island from afar, and then followed Son Goku, Piccolo and Son Gohan to land together. I was waiting for you, you are late. Gohan grew so tall. Bulma stood on the side of the airship with a child in her arms. Nonsense, what are you doing here? Son Goku said sternly. Come to watch the battle, it's okay, I'll take a look at the androids and go back. Bulma smiled indifferently. Krillin opened his mouth barks a little, sighing. What surprised me most is what Bulma is holding in her arms. She is married to Yamcha. That's not my child, we broke up long ago. Yamcha stood by with a depressed face. Bang! Bulma kicked on Krillin's calf, her eyebrows upside down, displeased. How can you talk like that? This is my child, not that thing you are talking about. Don't you guys think it's strange? It's already past 10 o'clock, but there's no sense of the enemy yet. Tian Shinhan stood on the edge of the end of the mountain, overlooking the prosperous town below. That boy also said because of his arrival history may change. In this place the androids will not exist at all. Yamcha spread his hands optimistically and said. Do not be blindly optimistic. A short time later, Yajirobe came over in his airship, carrying several newly produced senzu beans from Korin Tower. Recently, the year was bad, the production was slipping again and again, and after handing the senzu beans to Son Goku he finished his mission for the trip and left quickly in his airship. Boom! An explosion came and the airship Yajirobe was piloting exploded in the air. Someone attacked Yajirobe. What's wrong? I can't feel the enemy's ki at all. Son Goku looked grave. Could it be that there is no ki because it's an android? If we can't feel their breath, we can only use our eyes to judge, so let's split up and look for them, and notify everyone as soon as we find them. Swishing a few rays of light, Son Goku and others scattered to various parts of the small town. But there were at least tens of thousands of people on this large island, and it was a little difficult to find the androids from it. Soon after, Yamcha was ambushed by the androids, but in the nick of time Son Goku and the others arrived in time to save him with senzu beans. The two androids that came into view, one was an old man with long white beard and hair shaped like a wither, and the other was a fat man with a pointy horn on his swollen head, and the hat they were wearing was marked RR, which was the symbol of the Red Ribbon Army. Are they the androids? Finally revealed their true colors. Piccolo was overjoyed, his eyes showed a compelling cold light, the body's ki quickly raised. In a remote island, a cool breeze with the unique smell of the sea blowing. The green vegetation on the island was nourished by ample rainwater and grew into luxuriant branches and leaves, and on the jagged cliffs, several strange pines grew out along the broken walls. Suddenly, a distortion of the void, space shattered out of a 1-meter diameter hole, a wild vortex scraped out from inside the hole, hit the cliff. The rock wall cracked countless cracks in the clicking sound, and several fist-sized rocks flew down. Snap! A pair of fair and beautiful hands suddenly reached out and grabbed the twisted edge of the space. The untouchable edge of the space immediately looked like a hard door frame, and two young girls, one large and one small, burst out from inside. Mama, we're back. The petite girl's face revealed a bright smile, clear and lovely face like a blooming flower, melting the ice and snow at once. 11-year-old Ayam had already begun to take on the potential of a beautiful girl. Ayaka nodded his head. She then pulled out the space scouter and looked at the data showing 1.0213. At this time from the distance came several powerful ki. Ayaka frowned, pulling Ayam Dream to fly into the air. The battle with the androids has begun, let's go there too. The two who disappeared with a huff, and the light jetted out, cutting two long shadows of light in the air. In the island of steep rocks and strange rocks, boom 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 explosions incessantly. A cluster of blinding light flashes in the smoke, and Vegeta, who has just arrived, had already turned into a Super Saiyan and fought with Android 19. Hoo-hoo-hoo, a large piece of violent energy escaped everywhere, the earth rumbled. Vegeta's strength has suddenly become so strong, surprisingly pressed Bioroid's fight. Krillin watched in amazement. Piccolo watched the battle, his face gloomy said, those two androids are not terrible. It is difficult to deal with their hands that can absorb energy. Look at Goku, as long as the opponent's hands are avoided, eliminating the androids is easy. Krillin smiled and turned his head the other way, where the Super Saiyan state of Son Goku was fighting fiercely with the Android 20, and surprisingly, it was the same as Vegeta suppressing the androids to fight. As long as you find the weakness of the androids, it was very simple to deal with. Click, the Android 19's arms from the elbow down all removed. After losing both hands, 19's face was panic up, before it was beaten by Vegeta without the ability to fight back. Boom! A violent explosion came, the earth was blown out of a large crater. The body of the Android 19 was blown to pieces, and a head flew out, throwing an elegant arc. Kakarot, my side has settled the androids, you are still dilly-dallying. Vegeta laughed arrogantly. This android is more difficult to deal with. Son Goku gaze on the Android 20, lightly responded Vegeta. Do not sophistry, now I have surpassed you, Kakarot. Eliminating the androids before Son Goku made Vegeta's mood extremely relieved, with a smile on his face. This was the first time Vegeta exceeded Son Goku. In his opinion, he was already stronger than Kakarot. Oh no, Son Goku and Vegeta are unexpectedly strong, with me alone has been unable to deal with them, do we have to wake them up? The Android 20, namely Dr. Gyro, was anxious in his heart. What a lot of nonsense. Vegeta impulsively stepped forward, overstepped the mark, Kakarot, since you cannot deal with it, it will be left to me. Vegeta, that is my opponent. Son Goku opened his mouth wide and shouted, the body reacted in a hurry, a flash to follow. Boom boom boom, Vegeta and Son Goku, two Super Saiyan attack, the Android 20 did not have a little chance to fight back, and was soon beaten all over the body, and an arm had also been removed. Not good. The energy is consumed for a long time, and the speed is gradually decreasing. Damn science. Android 20's eyes were red and he looked grumpy. I told you that you will never win, 17 and 18 will come to kill you soon. The Android 20 yelled in a heartless manner and ejected all the energy with his other hand. Rumble. The island was immediately enveloped by the thick smoke from the explosion, the vision was blurred, and Android 20 took the opportunity to dive underground and disappeared. The smoke gradually cleared, a ruin covered with yellow sand had lost the trace of the androids. Damn, it disappeared. Vegeta's head bulging, roared at Son Goku, Kakarot, if it were not for your slow hands, the androids would not have escaped. How can you blame me, it is obviously that android cunning. Son Goku shook his head with an innocent face. Humph. He snorted angrily and stood aside without speaking. What should we do? Those androids have no key at all, if they do something naughty, we can't find him at all. Krillin's tone was urgent. The crowd was silent, that Android 20 didn't look strong, but the escaping technique was definitely not weak, it was hard to find him. At this time, the figure of Trunks appeared beside everyone, he looked at the group in surprise and said, who was that guy just now, why did you fight him? What's wrong? Trunks asked suspiciously when he saw that everyone had stopped talking all of a sudden. Isn't that the android you were talking about? Son Gohan looked at Trunks unbelievably. Androids? No, the androids in my world did not exist inside them. The world is crippled by the androids 17 and 18. 17 was a black-haired teenager with a scarf around his neck, while 18 was a teenage girl image with a costume similar to mine, they both have a cold look and round earrings, so they are very recognizable. A teenage girl image of an android? Krillin was astonished. The androids they fought just now were either old men or fat men. Where were the teenage girls? Well, and their energy is near infinite, never weakening. All in all, very scary. So we just hit the wrong one? Vegeta asked irritably. Piccolo shook his head, nope. Even if they are not the future teenagers 17 and 18, but they must be the androids, right? 19 and 20 were perfectly fit the characteristics of androids. After knowing that just dealing with the unexpected androids, Son Goku was surprisingly silent, and Trunks was also a bit jittery because of the change in history. Finally, Bulma thought that Android 20 might be Drive Gyro himself, and then they all flew towards Dr. Gero's institute in the north. In the cold northern mountains, white-capped snow covered the mountain range, and from afar, it was a thick white patch. A few cold winds blew, scraping a few snow clumps off the lime-green cedars. Let's split up. Above the white and empty snow, the crowd briefly discussed and flew off in different directions. Krillin kept searching along with the mountain range, and he kept circling between the various peaks by sticking to the ground when suddenly a black figure came into view. Dr. Gero. Krillin urgently stopped, his face showed surprise, and then gathered ki to guide Son Goku and others over. At this time, Dr. Gero also found Krillin. It's Krillin, the little bald guy. He smiled scornfully, and his finger quickly pressed the combination lock, thinking with certainty, as long as I release them, no one in this world will be able to stop me. Crackle, click. The heavy steel door slowly opened, and Dr. Gero's body scurried inside with a shrink. This was a very hidden institute. In the depths of the institute, in a space stacked with a 2-meter long and 1-meter wide dormant, several dormant had opened, only marked 16, 17, 18 of the 3 still intact closed. I don't want to start as a last resort, but now I can only start. I don't know if it's changed. Dr. Gero helplessly shook his head, his face a little gloomy. Although these androids were powerful, they were not qualified products in Dr. Gero's opinion because they were not under his control at all. Pop, pop. After hesitating for a while, he pressed the button of hibernators 17 and 18. 2 hibernator hatch then opened, from which came out 2 slender androids. Surprisingly, all girls, and not a man nor woman in the original. The original 17 and 18 were twin siblings, caught by Dr. Gero and transformed into androids because the brother was transformed first, so the number in front of the sister. And in this world, the twin siblings became sisters. 17, 18, hurry up and act. Son Goku's accomplices will soon arrive, I want you to destroy them, none left behind. Dr. Gero saw that the 2 androids did not look abnormal and relaxed in his heart. Yes. 17's soft voice rang out, and her body suddenly flashed, surprisingly snatching the dormant controller from Dr. Gallo's hand. What? The sudden change of events made Dr. Gero's mind shake, and a bad premonition immediately rushed to his heart. He roared in horror, 17, what are you doing? What did he need to ask? A dizzying sensation of spinning answered him, and 17 actually struck at him. Dr. Gero had no time to think. His head was already spinning in the air, cutting a beautiful arc. Damn, old man, we don't want to be controlled by you again. 17, you're so quick to strike. We're much more at ease without that old man. Smiling shallowly, 18's pretty face outlined a soft smile. 2 blue eyes looked around and soon saw the large hibernator placed in the central location of the institute. There is a 16 here, looks different from us. Dr. Gero actually created so many androids. I wonder how strong this guy is. Should we try and see? 18 asked with a tilted head. 17 shrugged her shoulders and said she would let her decide. Boom! The steel door of the institute was blown open, the smoke cleared, and Son Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, and others appeared outside the institute. There are so many people here, what can we do now? Son Goku is also in. It saves us from looking around. But we are outnumbered, oh. Number 18 covered his mouth and shouted in surprise. Then kill them all. Piccolo raised an eyebrow, suspiciously looking at the two androids talking and laughing, turned his head to Trunks and said, Trunks, didn't you say that the androids are one male and one female? How come both of them are female? Trunks had a moment of consternation, shook his head breathlessly. I'm not sure why Android 17 would be female, but there is no doubt that they are the androids that brought darkness to the world. Everyone, be careful. Their strength is terrifying. He naturally didn't need to remind this, Son Goku and others had already been prepared. Trunks wrinkled his brow and thought uneasily, it looks like history has really changed, 17 is actually female, and there are still androids here 16, absolutely can't let them start, androids can't be increased. After experiencing the dark reign of the androids for more than a decade, Trunks would never allow this world to become a purgatory on Earth. Thinking of this, he transformed into a Super Saiyan, and then regardless of the 3 or 7, to the Institute to start the destruction. Impudent brat. Vegeta cursed angrily and hurriedly shielded himself with air, and together with the others, to exit the Institute. Boom! 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 The sky shook the earth, and the Institute was located in the mountain peak was completely blown apart. The explosion generated by the chaotic rocks and wild energy flying around, thick smoke spread out. It was said that Trunks' attack had put forth its full strength and was naturally not less powerful, but the result was frustrating, and the dormant device of the Android 16 did not suffer a bit of damage. At the other end of the hill, 18 kicked away the dormant device, and Android 16 woke up. *T, another android has awakened. Trunks' face went white at once. Looking at the newly appeared large 16, Vegeta showed an elegant smile, mockingly shouted to Son Goku, Kakarot, now there are 3 androids, wait a moment I will go over to completely defeat them, so you can see what the noblest lineage of Saiyans is. Son Goku shrugged his shoulders, there was nothing he could do, or he had long since adapted to Vegeta's temper. Seeing Vegeta turned into a ray of light to fly past, Trunks' face was ugly, and he said urgently, Vegeta is too gullible. These androids are not simple. We'd better go and help him. Son Goku nodded in agreement. He was not as blindly arrogant as Vegeta, after a calm analysis, came to a bad conclusion. The difference in strength is so great that Vegeta will be killed. With a winding circling canyon, 17, 18, and 16 had been waiting there, such as hunters waiting for their prey to come to the door. The sky flashed a few lights, Vegeta and others flew over one after another. The hunter took it easy, the prey automatically to the door, it is time to harvest. 17 jumped down from the stone, narrowed the 2 sky blue eyes, contemptuous, rush in the forefront is Vegeta, followed by Son Goku's group and a teenager of unknown origin. 17, leave Son Goku at the end. Let me play with Vegeta first. 18 stroked down the golden hair hanging by the corner of the eye, looking elegant. Since 18 wants to play, Vegeta will be given to you, sister. 16, we block Son Goku and them, do not rush to kill, or it will be much less fun. 17 said. Whatever, I was produced to kill Son Goku. Since you guys said so, I'll delay it. Vegeta was flying at high speed and saw the 3 waiting not far away 18. The corners of his mouth showed a smile. He turned into a Super Saiyan state, the golden flame suddenly blazed up, 3 androids, let me Vegeta to clean you up. Shaking his head, 17's clean face revealed an evil smile, Saiyans are always overconfident, 18, teach Vegeta a good lesson. Okay, let me see the power of the Saiyan Prince, I hope it is not unbearable. 18 adjusted the clothes, walked towards Vegeta's side. But her arrogant speech made Vegeta angry. His whole body ki rose up, and Vegeta's gaze was cold. Who dared to scorn the Saiyans would be killed by him. Whether the other party was female or not. Under Vegeta's strong aura, 18 did not move. It's my turn. Boom. Her calm cheeks became cold and indifferent. 18 emitted an icy and bone-chilling chill, and her aura actually did not belong to Vegeta at all. Lightly stepped on the toes, the whole body flies up, instantly had come to Vegeta with. This scene let Vegeta eyes stare, his body suddenly tense, he realized that the android in front of him was not simple. She did not wait for him to think more, the swift attack would greet over.